Hello solo leveling fans and welcome back to a new video. Real quick before we get started, we're so close to hitting that 600 subscriber mark, guys, and we're about 400 subscribers away now from hitting that 1000 goal, the big 1000 here. So if you find yourself enjoying this kind of content, guys, all you have to do is click that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, but it helps me out a ton, and hey, you're already enjoying the content, so why not do it anyways. But with that being said, we are going to be talking about hunters today and their main stats, whether that's being your Sunju or your hunters. What are the main stats that you should be focusing on when it comes down to your artifacts, and what are the main stats that you should be worrying about? So let's start off by talking about our Sunju here. Now, when it comes down to Sunju, there are a couple of stats that you need to cater towards. Obviously, mainly because he is the main DPS source of the team. Well, no, not in the current meta. Obviously, he's a full support, but he's like the main character that you guys are using to clear out these chapters and get those rewards and help you progress throughout the game. Obviously, the more that you progress, you're gonna find out that Jinwoo is nothing but a support character until the devs decide to buff him. But we're digressing, so let's get straight to the stats here, right? Now, some of the best stats that you guys can cater towards is obviously your critical hit rate. Now, critical hit rate needs to be sitting at 50%, right? Whether that's from your artifact sets, whether that's from your agility, if you're lacking that little bit of extra oomph when it comes down to your artifact set, I highly suggest putting this at 50% crit, because that will obviously make you deal a ton more damage, and it will help out your Sunju a ton. Now, the second stat you should be focusing on here is your critical hit damage. This should be sitting at around 145 to 150. The more the merrier, obviously. And damage increase is another great stat here, being at 10% at least, so this needs to be a little bit boosted up, but by no means is this like anything bad. Now, another stat that you should be focusing on here is again your precision stat. And this precision stat, there are multiple ways that you can be boosting it, whether that's from your perception tree or from your weapon dupes. And as you can see here, I'll show you guys in just a second. So right now we are sitting at 75%, 75.5, which is about 7,680 of my total damage that I can be doing. As you can see here, I can do like about 1,500 damage, and I can do I can do about 75% of that most of the time. Now, if I go ahead and change this weapon right here for like a max dupe weapon right here, as you can see here, it's fully advanced. This one only has one advancement. This one has about 5 advancement at A5, as you can see here. Go ahead and equip that, and you'll see that the power went up, but also if we go ahead and click that, you'll see that precision went up to 79% now instead of that 75%. So weapon dupes is definitely a big improvement when it comes down to your precision stat, and it will help you obviously deal a ton more damage when it comes down to your weapons. So keep that in mind. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention here is when it comes down to your artifacts, guys, attack percentage is so instead of additional attack that you focus here, you should be focusing on attack percentage, because your Sunju is gonna focus a lot more, or gain a lot more benefit from your attack percentage than your additional attack. With that being said, though, your hunters is the opposite of this. So with the hunters, you want to go for additional attack rather than attack percentage, but for your Sunju, you want to go for additional attack right here, right? We're gonna cover the artifacts and all that good stuff in another video of, like, especially for the hunters, because I know a lot of you guys have been asking for that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that should definitely give you guys a grasp or like an understanding of what you need to be focusing on when it comes down to your stats. So attack is obviously the #1 priority. Excuse me. So attack is going to be your #1 priority. Obviously, the higher the attack, the better the damage, the more DPS you're going to be dealing. So highly suggest putting all your points in strength and then working from there. The second thing that you need to be catering towards is obviously your precision. Like I said, that's going to be coming from your weapon dupes and how many weapon dupes that you have when it comes down to your weapon, how highly leveled they are. The third stat is going to be your critical hit rate at 50%. Here, you need to make sure that this is where you're sitting, because again, that will help boost out a ton of damage when it comes down to your boss fights and other content in the game. Critical hit damage is obviously the last stat that we're going to be, well, the second to last stat after damage increase. But yeah, critical hit damage is going to be sitting at 145 to about 150, I would say. Obviously, the more the merrier. As you can see here, I'm at 158. Make sure to be putting it at 150 at least, and anything above that is obviously a bonus. Your damage increase should be at least at 10%, which is something that you should be catering towards as well. And with that being said, guys, I think that covers the stats here for Sunju. Now let's get to the hunters. Now, here's a rule of thumb, by the way. We just said that when it comes down to our hunters, we are going to be focusing on flat stats. which means additional stats. So additional defense or defense in general is better than, for example, defense percentage or attack percentage, right? And that is going to be applied throughout all the stats. So anything like, let me take a look here, for example. Let me go ahead and go to artifacts, go, for example, to here. As you can see here, for example, obviously, if this was like a character that scales off of defense, someone like that, let's say Wu Jinchul here, he scales off of defense. So additional defense here is going to benefit him more than, for example, defense percentage, right? And obviously defense pen will be better than anything else, except for the one thing or the one stat, which is basically your HP percentage. HP percentage is definitely going to be way more beneficial than additional HP or flat HP, as you can see here, and that is due to the fact that HP percentage makes your hunters a lot more stronger and you get more benefit from that. So your hunters that scale off of HP, you want to prioritize HP percentage. Anything else when it comes down to hunters, you want to go for the flat stats. So defense, for example here, defense is going to be good, attack is also going to be good, just additional attack flat here, just as you can see here. Obviously this would be better if this said additional attack instead of attack percentage, but we take those obviously. By no means is my hunters like fully set up or fully built yet, but like I said, I'll do that in another video for you guys. We can do that on stream as well. And one more thing that I wanted to talk about here is obviously going to the main stats that you guys should be focusing on. So if you go to your hunters here and you click your artifacts, you'll see a bunch of recommended stats, and those are the stats that you should be prioritizing when it comes down to your hunter. So what I mean by that is, as you can see here, it says the recommended stats for Alicia is going to be attack, water damage, and critical hit rate. So all of these artifact sets should at least contain one, if not two, of these stats right here. So for example, if you go ahead and look at our helmet, that has attack already on it, but it doesn't have anything else from the other stats. Now if you go ahead and look here, we have the critical hit rate here and the damage increase, but nothing else from the other stats, and so on and so on. I guess you get the idea. Additional attack, attack percentage, damage increase here, as you can see here. So this is basically what you need to be focusing on, and the same applies to every other hunter. So for example, let's take a look here at my Jiwoo, and again, I go to my artifacts here, click the recommended stats. You'll see that the main stat here is obviously, this is your #1 priority here. You're going to be able to take a look here. It says HP, critical hit rate, and critical hit damage. And for example, here you'll see that I have HP here, an additional HP as my main stats with the damage increase bonus here. So yeah, this is basically what you need to be building when it comes down to your artifact sets. And these are the stats that you should be focusing on when it comes down to your hunters as well. Now, one last thing that I wanted to talk about here, guys, is make sure to be prioritizing good sets for I wouldn't really like say artifact sets, but I would say make sure to be building these stats on sets that are actually worth it. So don't take I don't know, like the level 45 artifacts just because it has one of these stats over like a level 65 artifact with like a little bit less stats, you know what I'm saying? If it has the stat on it, like if it has one or two of the stats on it, and it's going to give you more total power, you should definitely be going for that. And you should definitely be prioritizing things, like I said, HP percentage, but everything else should be additional stats, so additional defense, additional attack, all that good stuff. Flat stats for your hunters, attack percentage for Sunju. And I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, excuse me. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy leveling. Peace.